guys, hello everyone, this is Ravinder Dundra and welcome to my channel RDSC CBSE. In this lecture, we will discuss about class 6th CBSE first chapter from geography, that is the earth in the solar system. So most often during summer time, most of the people what they would like to do is that during night time they will sleep in the outside, or you can say they will sleep outside of their house. So whenever you sleep outside of your house during the night time, you can observe a very beautiful sky during this night time. And in that, most of the objects, if you see into the sky, they are all shining. And some of the objects, if you can very closely observe, they are not shining. So those objects which are shining, most probably they all may be considered as stars. Then those objects which are not shining, we may consider them as something like planets. Then at the same time, apart from the stars and planets, sometimes, not sometimes, most often you can also see this moon, and sometimes you can observe very full moon. We also call it as Purnima. Then sometimes we may call it as this new moon when you don't see moon. So during this new moon time, or we also call it Amavasya time. So during this particular time, if you can see the sky, it is even more beautiful. Why? Because every shining object, it twinkles like anything. It gives you very big, what is that? A beautiful scene. Then next very important thing is that those objects which are found in the space, all those objects including the sun, moon, satellites, stars, each and every object which is present in the sky, we call them as these celestial bodies. The sun, moon and all those shining objects in the night sky are known as celestial bodies. Simply you can say anything which is present in the space, we may call it as a celestial body. Then among them, now we will see about this star, one of the very important celestial body. Star is a celestial body because it is found in this sky, or it is present in this universe. Then if you can go into the features of this star, it is very big as well as hot. Why? Because you can't even go very nearer to this star, any kind of star. Why? Because it is very, very big. The size of the star is very big. But if you observe sleeping outside, what you can see is that they are very, very small. You may know the reason. The reason is that they are very, very far away from this earth. Very far means very, very far. That is why even though they are very big, you can see they are very, very small. Then they are even very hot. Why? Because they are made up of different gases. Because of this, they are very hot. Then very important feature of a star is that they have their own heat as well as light. That means for the purpose of heat and light, they do not depend on others, because they have the capacity to generate their own heat and light. For example, the best example, the closest star to our earth is the sun, which we can see from our eyes, and which we are getting light from this. The light where we are getting light is from this sun. So these stars, they can form different patterns in the sky. If you can observe, sometimes in the night time you can see different patterns formed by these stars. So whatever the patterns that are formed by the stars in different ways, these patterns we call them as constellations. That is, the patterns formed by the different groups of stars known as constellation. You can see sometimes in the sky, if you observe, like different like 3 stars, sometimes different shapes, you can see the patterns formed by these stars. So whatever the patterns that are formed by these stars, we call them as constellations. And one of the famous example for this are, you can say, Ursa Major, the pattern formed by the stars. And how it appears is that it appears something like a very big bear. Then second one is this Sapta Rishi, or sometimes we call it as this 7 sages. That means 7 sages or Sapta Rishi. So apart from this, there is one more star which is placed in the northern direction, or you can say North Star, or we also call it as this pole star. During the olden days, when people travel from one place to other place, usually they used to follow this pole star. Why? Because it is constant, it is present in this northern side. Then, for example, if they are traveling from place to place, by seeing this north star or pole star, they used to travel. Then, as I told, there are some celestial bodies which are present in this universe. They do not have their own heat and light. They are lit by the light of the stars. That means they depend upon the light which is generated from the stars. So these bodies which do not have their own heat and light and which are dependent on the stars for their light, we call them as this planets. Then one of the planet, the word planet has derived from this Greek word known as planetai, which means wanderers. Those bodies which do not have their own heat and light and which depend on stars for the light, we call them as planets. Then these planets, planet is a word which is derived from the Greek word planetai, which means wanderers. And the best example is that the earth on which we all are living. Then apart from that, the moon is something like a natural satellite for our earth, and it is also something we also call it as the companion to the earth. It always revolves around this earth. Then the next topic which we have to discuss is about this, the solar system in which we all are living. What is this solar system? Solar system can be simply defined as like this: the sun, 8 planets, and some other celestial bodies such as asteroids, meteorites, together known as this solar system. You can see this solar system, we have the sun as well as 8 planets. Then we also have this meteorites as well as asteroids. That is why sometimes we also call it as something like the solar family. Then we will discuss about this, the main head of this solar family or solar system, that is the sun as well as the closest star to our earth. It is the center of this solar system. Then it is very huge and made up of extremely hot gases. As I told, the stars are made up of different gases. So the sun is also made up of these extremely hot gases, very hot. Then it is the main source of this light for the solar system. That means the ultimate source of this light for this solar system is from the sun. That means all the planets in this solar system, they get light from this sun. Then the distance from the sun to the earth is almost 150 million kilometers away from the earth. That means approximately, or you can say it is 15 crore kilometers away from the earth. The distance from the sun to the earth is 15 crore kilometers. So it is something like head of the family to all this solar family. So in the next class we will discuss about this planets.